Hey, this is Andrew McLaren. Let's talk about how to memorize student names. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I use FlipGrid to get the pronunciations from the students, as well as fun facts. It's kind of like what some students do with like flashcards to get to know students. And then we're going to go over some physical structures or layouts in the classroom that you can use to help you with memorizing, and then a timeline of what you should be doing at like different points in time to get these names down. Okay. My favorite way to learn student names is using this website called FlipGrid. It's not only free and very easy to use, but all you really need from students is like a 1 minute video here in one central location, and it does all of that for you. Like you could have other programs that are using like WeVideo to have students like make the video and then submit it like in Google Classroom or uh, like share the YouTube link with you. That's way too complicated. The easiest thing is just to use this one website. And I found this extremely useful for students whose language, the name was from like a different culture or language than what I spoke. And I just really struggled with reading their names and then knowing how to say that, right? So this is very, very useful for names that are maybe a little bit different than what you're used to hearing. And this is, in my mind, kind of taking place of flashcarding names, because you might see students that, or teachers that flashcard the student name, nickname, and hobbies and just kind of go through that. Um, this has the added benefit of you actually hearing how their name actually sounds. And then you can just listen to these and then focus on the ones that you're struggling with and not listen to the ones that you already have down. So you're kind of like going through the flashcards and be like, okay, these 5 students, I really got to work on their names. I'm going to say their names to them today or tomorrow and try and work on that and work down the list, right? So this is what FlipGrid looks like. This is basically, if you just try and go to the prompt, this is a prompt that I've made, like this link. So if you shared this link with a student, they would get taken to this page. It looks like this. And then they need to join with their Google account. Most schools have students have a Google account already. And so if they join with that, it should be fine. Once their Google account has been logged in, they should see the title, the prompt, and a button that says add response. And then I'm having issues with my camera right now because I'm using it to record this, but it will just give them like an allow notification. They hit that and it should just pop up really easily. And then they just record the video in there. And it's seriously, it's that easy. You just need to spend a minute to create the account and then create the group and the prompt and then send that URL to them, which you can do in like Google Classroom or something like that very, very easily. To help memorize students' names, you can lay them out in a way that really, really helps you kind of chunk or group them. And the easiest way for me is to just sort the students alphabetically by the first letter of their first name. And so I've got a bunch of students with the first name A at one table, the very first table, right? And the last table will probably have some Wyatt or Xavier or someone at that table all the way at the other end, right? And so I'll have my classroom organized alphabetically. I know roughly what letter their names should be. And so instead of drawing from like 26 letters, being like, oh, this kid could have any name, I'm like, okay, you probably have a name that's like A through C. And then I might be able to, from that smaller list of students' names that I've been recently hearing, I might be able to think of it in the moment, right? So you have them grouped by name, and you are going to have to adjust that because, you know, students with IEPs, they have to be sitting next to the teacher. Some students might need to be near the door. Some students can't be near the door, maybe for like behavior needs or something. Maybe they have certain student needs, like they have medical needs, so they might need to be able to go to the bathroom at any point in time. So you don't want to have them walk across the room, right? So there's a number of things that you'll need to adjust to make sure that you're attending to all of like the equity and the needs in the room. But for the most part, you want to have people be alphabetical and then slightly tweak that, which also lets you tweak it for behavior problems as well, right? And I would keep students there until you have a majority of the names, if not all of the names down. And I really don't like to use like a name tag, but you could use a name tag, especially at first. So a lot of teachers will have students like make a name tag. I think it's kind of a waste of time to have them actually make the name tags. If you want to have something that's already printed for them, I think that's fine. But you want to make sure that you're not over relying on these things because it's going to prevent you from memorizing the names if you're just reading it off the tag. So you want to give yourself some opportunities to mess up and get the names wrong. So you want to make sure you're like not looking at the tag or like maybe covering it so that you can't see it, and try and practice that. Also, keep in mind these things oftentimes get destroyed or lost. You don't want to have to spend class time having students make more, and I wouldn't use my prep to make more of these if I didn't have to. Um, Keep in mind that you're also going to need to clear off desks, or maybe you're at different stations. Like maybe table 3 isn't where you're sitting at today. That's the cloud station or whatever. So these name tags might get moved around the room, and so there's some issues that you can have with them, and I'm not a big fan of over relying on them. Though if you wanted to on the first day start with them, I think that's okay. When we're thinking about the timeline of memorizing student names, there's three main windows for me. There's like the preview, the first week or so, and then the first month or so when you're trying to get the names down. And what you want to do is before school starts, usually about a week before school starts, um, your grade program that you have is going to start having students appear on your schedule and on your class lists. And most of the time, these lists are not like done. Like they still need to have people being adjusted, and they're making class sizes the right class size for all the different teachers. And so people will be moved around, but you'll have in my experience, I've had about half of my students in class that I had on those lists. So you can spend a little bit of time looking at those students. I would prioritize focusing on the medical flags, like if a student has an allergy or a learning disability, just kind of look at those students' information first. And then while you're doing that, you can try and memorize some names. You're going to find yourself like looking at their name anyways a lot while you're reading that. So it helps to look at their picture while you're reading like their individualized education plan. Um, and then also you can start memorizing some of the easier names. Like I'll just have like, because most of these things have rows of students that are displayed. I'll just kind of cover up the names and look at the pictures and try and figure out what the names were. Um, but not really worth your time. It's just me being neurotic. And then if you're in the first week, what I would recommend that you do is that you take attendance, but you ask them to say what their name is. So instead of saying like, "Hey, are you Jocelyn?" Then you could have them tell you, "Hi, I'm Jocelyn," or "My name's Jocelyn." And then you could say the name back to them after they've told you how to say it, if you're comfortable. And then what you want to do is have them in assigned seats. I would definitely recommend that because that's part of chunking them. You need to have the student in the same place. Even if you're not doing alphabetical organization, keep the kids in the same place so that, like, for example, like Tanish, maybe he's sitting next to like Isla or someone. So you've got this, you now know like, oh, this student's next to that student, or this kid is talking with that kid. And so you might struggle with Isla's name, but you know Tanish, and you know that Tanish sits next to Isla, and so you're like able to get through that path to figuring out what the name is of the student. And then you can study the flip grids before and after school. I would just do that early in the morning, first thing, and like after school, maybe right before you leave to go home, or like I don't know, after dinner or something like that. You can just do a little like flashcard of hearing how their names are pronounced. Um, And then I try and give myself a little dopamine rush by like trying to impress the students by saying their names and just walking up and saying their names like on the first couple days while they're doing independent work. And they think it's kind of weird, but they understand that I'm doing it just to get their names down. I'm like, "Hey, Tanish," and he's like, "What's up?" I was like, "Oh, I'm just practicing your name. Don't worry about it." Or like I'll just walk around and I'll be like, John, uh, Alex, Ali, whatever. I'll just go through the names and help myself memorize them, but also show the students that I'm working on it, right? And then the first month, then you can spend some time on reordering the students. But I would do that like after the first month. You want to like keep them in the same place, maybe adjust some students here and there based on their needs. But then after that first month, or like maybe first quarter, then you switch up the seating chart and you quiz yourself to see, do you actually know the names, and create the new groups in your brain. And keep on using their names. Any opportunity that you can say a student's name, even if it feels weird, do it, right? You can say thank you for getting those materials, Sarah, right? And so they might look at you, and if it's too forced, kind of weird, but it's worth it. And then I would take down those name tags as soon as possible. Maybe you have them for the first week. After that, definitely you should be trying to get rid of those. And then if you want to, you can start working on memorizing the last names. Honestly, that I just have happen passively. And that will happen over the year. Hopefully by December, you know the last name of the students that you're emailing parents about and whatnot. But we'll see. Okay, that's it. Thanks for joining me. Thank you for McLearning with me. I've got a few more offers that I'd like to let you know about. And remember, like and subscribe. For each video on YouTube, I am making an interactive version using HP5. These will be for sale on Podia. And if you click on the link in the video, you should be able to go directly to that product. I also have 2 demos I'm going to be linking so you can kind of see what these products look like. So I would recommend checking out those demos. I also offer one-on-one remote tutoring through Wyzant. Please use the links that I have linked below. That way I can get 100% of the hourly rate as opposed to 75. Each video also has a link for my Patreon, and you can join at the $3 level to get some resources I use for tutoring or to support the channel. And I also have a $5 raffle level, which you could either get some free online tutoring or 5 interactive lessons for free. You choose which ones. And then I also have my Teachers Pay Teachers, which has some old lessons that I made from when I used to be a teacher. I may be adding to that. Thank you for spending your time with me. I hope that you learned something.